lot of the words, and all of a sudden he said he was sitting there and he immediately rhymed, you know, just a bunch of stuff with it, and just got really excited, and hopefully pulled up his pants first, but ran to the phone and called Proof and was like, I got it.
To date, D12 have released 2 studio albums, 2001's Devil's Night and 2004's D12 World. Both have been hugely successful and reveal yet another side of Eminem's talent.
Well, when Eminem records with D12, he's part of a crew. You know, it's not, he's basically playing, you know, I guess if anything, he's more Slim Shady, and he's sort of is like one soldier in the mix, you know, it's not all his show. That said, you know, he is the guy who comes up with like the great hook, so that is very Slim Shady of him to keep things entertaining. You know, he's the guy, he produced the whole last record, he's the one sort of driving it. He's really like, his main love besides his daughter is music, you know, and when he's in the studio with D12, he's there from the beginning to the end every single day, whether he's doing a track or not, you know. So his role is really kind of, you know, he's kind of the driving force behind it.
Shady Records' next signing was to be another underground rapper from Detroit, Obi Trice.
Obi Trice is a real talented MC, good street cred, you know what I mean? And I remember Bizarre specifically talking to me about it. Have you heard this guy? He really impressed Bizarre. And so the connection with Eminem happened through Bizarre. Bizarre was like, you know, Marshall, I really want you to check out this guy. He's real dope. He's blowing me away. And I think they met real quickly at an event, and Obi spit something for him, and that between that and Bizarre kind of hyping him up, I think that's how he was, you know, approached and courted by Shady.
However, it was to be Shady's next signing that would become the burgeoning label's biggest success.
Signing 50 Cent was just a genius move, not just because, you know, the time was right for 50 and he's a great rapper, but it also was, again, very Eminem. You know, 50 was dropped by Columbia after he got shot because he was just too dangerous an artist, and, you know, that wasn't going to stop Eminem from signing him.
50 Cent came from a new stable of East Coast rappers. Brought up in a deprivation similar to that of Eminem, 50 was the product of a broken home in the Jamaican neighbourhood of Queens. His early life had consisted of drug deals, spells in jail, and several attempts on his life. This background has given 50's brand of hip-hop a dark and authentic tone.
50 Cent is giving the audience something that they can feel. I think there's been a lot of ghetto gangster posturing in hip-hop as of late. Nobody who has a real background for what they're talking about. And I think 50 is as authentic as they come. It's somebody who lived what they're talking about. Maybe not all of it, but enough to convince the audience that it should be coming out of his mouth. And I think as you go along, you see a lot of guys, they talk this gangster stuff, and then they get in trouble, and you find out that their police record has never been anything like what they talked about, or they've never been in trouble before. But with 50, his life has always played out in the media, you know, from day one, from the time that he got shot 9 times to, you know, losing his mom, to the drug world, to everything that's happened to him, from being a small-time hustler up until now. I think it's authentic from the audience, and I think they needed that authenticity, especially when it comes to that genre of hip-hop. So that really made his popularity soar.
In 2002, Eminem entered a bidding war to sign 50 Cent. The signing fee was in excess of $1 million, but 50 did indeed join the ranks at Shady Records.
The way Eminem got to 50's music, he had a demo and he had mixtapes all over the place. So his name was buzzing. No one could ignore him. If you were listening to rap, you had to either like him or not like him. But but you couldn't ignore the fact that he was out there. And his approach he took was complete street saturation, and he's going to get the attention of everybody. And Eminem was one of those people who got a hold of his CD, and he started to like him, and he really was big on 50 Cent. He was telling Dr. Dre, hey, this guy's great. And Dr. Dre was like, who? 50 Cent, what are you talking about? But because you like it, the #1 rapper in America, I mean, the biggest rapper in the States or in the world, because you like it, obviously there's something there.
50 Cent gave Eminem street credibility. And I think Eminem would tell you the same thing. We always thought Eminem was nice as an MC. Nobody's trying to take anything away from him. But 50 gave him that street cred. And he also re-gave Dre his street credibility. And that's huge in hip hop, especially for Eminem and for his career. I mean, you know, you're on stage with Elton John doing songs, you know, people like, dude, come on, you ain't got no street credibility over here. But when 50 linked with you, and he's the biggest shit in the world, and 50 is like, yeah, yo, Eminem, yo, you know you're my favorite white boy, right? It gave him credibility as an artist, and even more so, it gave Eminem credibility as a producer now.
For Eminem, the sort of struggle with proving himself in terms of, you know, being allowed to maintain his credibility with black hip-hop fans is never going to end. You know, that's definitely something that every single move, he thinks a lot about every single move he makes. Because in hip-hop, once you do something that's, you know, bullshit, your fans will never come back. They're pretty critical, you know. And it took him a long time to get where he is. So if he went and signed a bunch of artists that, you know, were garbage or were like faker rappers, it's just not going to work. So, you know, signing 50 Cent was definitely, he loved 50 Cent already, but I mean, it was definitely a very smart thing to do, because that is part of the white man's burden in hip hop, you know, at any given time, and that is the way it should be. It's an African American art form. At any given time, your sort of credibility is up for review.
When Get Rich or Die Trying was finally released in February 2003, 50 Cent suddenly became the hottest thing in hip-hop.
50 Cent explosion was phenomenal. It was amazing. The dude was all over, everywhere, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, touring, G-Unit sneakers, G-Unit clothes, hats, records, everything. I mean, it was a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon. It's a movement in hip-hop that only happens once in a while. The dude issued in the new breed. Hip-hop, the dudes were doing it that were on the top, had been on the top for so long that I think it was time for new blood. And 50 Cent, G-Unit, that's the new blood.
Eminem's empire now extends across all facets of hip-hop culture and popular entertainment. His clothing range, shady wear and ever-expanding record label have helped him to start a new career as one of America's great entrepreneurs, while the continued artistry of his albums and an emerging acting prowess have maintained his critical success.
I think if there's a secret to Eminem's success, it's about America. There is this notion about the American dream. Now, the American dream is something that most people find very hard to live up to. There's a kind of leftist, kind of social, egalitarian dream, and there's a kind of rightist, sort of purist, God-fearing dream. But it's all the dream, and Eminem is about American reality.
Reality is the basis of Eminem's work. You know, just the real sort of exhuming his demons, bearing, you know, the facts of his life. Just, you know, now and again, he's created like a Shakespearean play for us that we get to hear, you know, the next act in every different record.
Having risen from the Detroit suburbs to become one of America's most successful recording artists, These are most definitely Eminem's glory years.